Hey, thanks for stopping by. I'm David, and this is Learn Something, a show where I find information and then I give it to you guys. Today we're going to talk about something kind of interesting. We're going to talk about something called a caisson. Now, a caisson is used in bridge building. It's used in the building of certain kinds of suspension bridges. Now, these suspension bridges are bridges that need to span very large distances, like, say, a very, very wide river. And not only do they need to span the wide river, they need to span the wide river in a single leap. They're not allowed to touch the water in any place here because, say, there are boats. Lots and lots of boats that travel through this river. An example would be the East River in New York, the Brooklyn Bridge, basically. The people who built the Brooklyn Bridge had this problem. They had to build two towers, very, very, very far apart from each other, span a cable in between them, and use the cable to suspend a roadway to connect Brooklyn with New York City. Now, the thing about a suspension bridge is that you would expect that the force on these towers to be downward, but that's not the case. Since this is pulling the roadway and all of the load on the bridge is pulling down, that makes it so that the cables pull this way on the towers. Now, the tower's tendency is going to be to fall inward. How do you stop that? Well, you make the towers very, very tall and very deep, and you dig them all the way down here into a layer of dirt that's very, very solid, because here it's all saturated by water, but there comes a point where the dirt becomes very solid underneath the riverbed. How do you get down there? How do you dig a hole that deep, especially when part of the digging takes place underwater? You use a caisson. Now, a caisson is basically a box, but it's a box with no floor. What happens is you sink this underwater, and instead of filling up with water, since it's airtight, a bubble forms. Now you sink this underwater, say, here's the surface of the water, into the bed of the river, and now you actually have a dirt floor where all of the water is being kept out. The problem is that water is very heavy and water creates a lot of pressure. Basically, the water is crushing down on this and trying to squeeze water back into this thing. So, how do you stop it? Well, what you have to do is you have to build a platform up top and a tube connecting that has compressed air connected to it that constantly keeps the pressure inside as great as the pressure outside, equalizing the pressure in the chamber so that all of the water is kept out. Now, the workers come in through another tube. The workers climb in here, they're compressed, they climb down a ladder, they come in here, and they start digging. Now, where's all the dirt go? So, how do you shovel dirt out of a caisson without losing all the pressure? See, because the thing is that if you, say, open a door to shovel the dirt outside, the water would come in and everyone would drown. This is how. You have to build a pipe going all the way up to the top of the water. Now, this pipe would normally let all of the air pressure out since it's open at the top and the bottom, again, flooding the chamber and killing everyone, except that it is filled with water itself. There is a column of water that is suspended inside this tube. It's done the same way that water is being kept out in the bottom, a bubble of air, and the air pressure from the top is squeezing this column so that it stays inside this tube. And then, to get the dirt out, the workers have the dirt here, they have the dirt here, and a bucket is lowered down, filled with dirt, and then carried back up. The dirt is carried off elsewhere, and the workers can dig their way down, down, down into the riverbed. Now, at the beginning of the episode, I mentioned that caissons were used in the building of the Brooklyn Bridge. I have a question for you guys. Who designed the Brooklyn Bridge, and who built it? Please leave a message in the comment, leave a message to me, or email me at my email address, which will be a link in the description. Thank you guys for your time, and remember, learn something.